What's up, guys? Henning up with the fourth here, back in another video, and today we're back with another banger. Today I'm coming at y'all with 3 main reasons why I will not be switching back to Android. Now, I promise you, let me say this before this video starts, this is not a negative video. I promise you, I love Android. I've been on Android for 7 years before I got my iPhone XS Max, and I've been on with iOS, I guess, for a year. I promise you, it's not a negative video in any way. I'm just giving my 3 reasons why I won't be switching to Android. The reason why I'm making this video, I wanted to make it before when I was using my iPhone, but also I'm making this video, it just happens to be well timed after the fact that I reviewed the OnePlus 8 and the OnePlus 8 Pro. If you haven't checked out my review, I'll have it linked in the description below. Also, you can check it out at the top left, right of the screen. I always get that wrong. And you already know the deal, twitch.tv/12. All right, let's get into it. So, first reason, I hit the keyboard. First reason why I will not be switching back to Android is evolution. And I'm not talking about, evolution of life. I'm just talking about myself. I've evolved, you know what I mean? I started out, I've been using Android since I was probably 12. I think my first phone was a Nexus S4G. And then I had a Galaxy Note 2, Galaxy Note 3, Galaxy S4, somewhere in that bit. And then I started using OnePlus devices, OnePlus 5, OnePlus 5T, OnePlus 6, OnePlus 7 Pro, I guess. And I've been using Android for a very, very long time. And I used to do a lot of ROMs. I used to install different ROMs. I used to do a lot of customization. I used to play games. Android had really good gaming. A lot of different apps. I used to use Discord, Palringo, different chat apps, Hangouts. So Android it just worked. I had to do a lot of stuff on my phone. I'm not saying you can't do a lot of stuff on iOS. I'm just saying back then, Android was pretty much the king of power devices, right? I was recording videos, doing screen recording. I was doing a lot on my phone. And nowadays, I just don't do that much stuff with my phone. I send emails, I receive emails, watch content, listen to music. I do very basic stuff, get on chat apps, maybe Discord, check social media every now and then. I don't really do that much on my phone. And I'm not saying, I don't want people to get it wrong. You can do all those basic things on Android. Trust me you can. It's just that I don't do a lot of the stuff that I used to use Android for. And when I tried the iPhone for the first time, I'll make a video on my story with me trying the iPhone, how I even got this iPhone in the first place. But I tried the iPhone and it just worked. And I'll get into it just working in my third bit. But I'm not saying that you can't do certain things on Android. They both are pretty much similar, right? You can do what you want on both platforms. It just so happens that I don't do a lot of the power driver stuff that I used to do before, the customization, the ROM, stuff like that. I'm really not doing that much. So I guess you could say reason number 1 is that I've evolved. Reason number 2 is Apple improvement. I want to say this. Like I just said, I was on Android for 7 years and then I switched to Apple. One of the things I was waiting on Apple to do was improve, and specifically they improved in 5 key sections that I'll note. The first thing was battery life. I know you probably already know the memes about how the iPhone 4, the 4S, or the 5, your battery always died. It just died quick. One minute it's on 100, the next minute it's on 90. Battery life was just not that great on those phones back in the day, and they've definitely improved recently, ever since the iPhone X. And even the iPhone 8, but the iPhone X and up, battery life is definitely improved. iOS 13 is a really, really good improvement on iOS as a whole. You get dark mode, lots of other features, bug fixes, stuff like that, stability updates. iOS 13 is a really, really good platform, and it's a good improvement for Apple, and I'm glad that they did a good job on that operating system. The biggest one, the biggest reason number 3 is RAM and RAM management. This is the thing that really made me mad about iPhones. Every iPhone I had a few iPhones in the past too. I was on Android, but I was also using iPhones. I had an iPhone 6 Plus. I tried the 7 Plus, I think. And the problem that I had with both of these devices was RAM management. Now, back then, Android always had RAM. You could find a phone with 4 gigs of RAM, no problem. But iPhones back then had 2 gigs of RAM. And the RAM management was just terrible. I would be on one app, using an app, I'd switch to another app just quickly, maybe an email app, check my email. Then I go back to the app and it'd have to reload the entire app. That was my experience with iPhones. It was one of the main reasons why I just couldn't use an iPhone back then. I just hated the way RAM there wasn't that much RAM in the phone, and the little that it had, it just wasn't managed correctly back then. To me, that was one of the main key points as to why I didn't like Apple or iPhones. But now, the iPhone, my 10s Max does fine with RAM management. It's perfectly fine. I think it still only has 4 gigs of RAM, or I think it's 3 or 4. I think I'm almost certain that it's 4. But this phone does fine with 4 gigs of RAM. It manages it well, and I really have no problem. So that was one of the key things that I was looking for with the new iPhones. And like I said before, I'll talk about that in my video as to why I got an iPhone. Reason number 4, or section number 4, I guess, of Apple improving is design. I am a huge fan of the iPhone X and Up's design. I love it. I think it's perfect. All screen, the notch. I'm a huge fan of the notch. I'm sorry, everybody that hates notches. I like the iPhone notch. It's why I like the OnePlus 6 so much. The OnePlus 6 kind of copied the iPhone's notch, but I love the iPhone's design. I love its weight. It feels hefty in the hand, all metal design. This phone, I've dropped this phone numerous times and it didn't crack up to the point where I dropped it on a basketball court without a case, but we don't talk about that. It cracked like hell, but this phone just feels like it just, the new design from the iPhone X and Up, I just love it. I love it from a hardness standpoint. I don't really know how to word it, but I just like the design overall. It's amazing. And reason number 5 is privacy. We always talk about Google, their leaks, security leaks and stuff like that, how they're selling your data. And Apple recently has had a big push on privacy, and I'm all for that. They have a really good password manager. Face ID is probably the king of biometrics, mobile biometrics. Apple's just amazing when it comes to security and privacy, and that's one of the main reasons why I'm sticking with the iPhone. It's just because that is like something that's especially important. I'm in the military, so that's something that is really important to me, is my privacy and security and stuff like that. So that's that. And we'll get into the third reason. The third reason, final reason why I won't be switching back to Android, is comfortability. And I said it before when I was talking about evolution, how things just work. Honestly, I'm just comfortable with my phone. I'm comfortable. I don't really feel like selling my phone and getting a new phone. I can do that at any point because I buy my phones outright. I do want to make a video on how I buy phones and stuff like that, but I buy my phones outright. I don't do payment plans. Every phone that I have, I paid for 100%. And honestly, I just don't feel like selling my phone and getting a new phone because this phone works, right? I'm in that stage of my life. Like I said, it goes back to the evolution point, but I'm in the stage of my life where this phone just works, right? I can call, I can text, I can get on the apps that I need to, I can watch my videos, I can listen to music, I got Apple Music. Everything works, right? And I'm not saying this is not a shot at Android. I promise you, it's not a shot at Android. At saying like things are complicated or whatever. I don't believe that at all. I think Android is perfectly fine. I think it's just as good as Apple or iOS. But I'm just in a comfortable zone right now. I don't really feel like switching, and this is a highly personal reason. This isn't really objective in the slightest. It's really personal. I'm just comfortable with my phone, and I really have no reason to switch. So that's that. And before we end this video, I do want to give one reason. I want to talk about something. One thing that is not the reason why I'm switching back to Android, and that is the Apple ecosystem. Now, I know a lot of people talk about the Apple ecosystem. Oh, you sunk into the Apple ecosystem. You have this, you have that. I'll note a couple of things. The only Apple products that I personally own are my iPhone XS Max. I have this Apple Watch 4th Gen and AirPods. And services that I use, I'm subscribed to Apple News. I have Apple Care, Theft and Loss, and Apple Music. And with those, I can literally, all those services and products are disposable, right? I can get rid of any one and switch it to whichever one I want. I can switch to any phone I want. I don't text that often, so everything else is pretty much transferable as far as phone to phone from iPhone to Android, except for messages. But I don't really send them any texts, so that works in my favor. AirPods, I can use AirPods on Android or iOS. And my Apple Watch, I mean, I barely use the Apple Watch. I do like how you can check the weather and stuff like that from basically just looking at it. But I can get any smartwatch that I want on the Android side. I think Motorola makes some good ones, but this is the best one on the market by far. But you know what I mean? Like it's not that serious. I don't really use this that much. And services, Apple Music. I'm subscribed to Apple Music, Google Play, and Spotify. I could use either one, right? I could switch to Google Play just as quickly as I could switch to Spotify or switch back to Apple Music. It does not matter. I use all three. And Apple News, I think Google News is free, or they might have a subscription service right now, but I can just use Google News. Like, it's not that serious. I can switch between either service that I want on both sides. So I'm definitely not part of this Apple ecosystem. I'm not sunk in. I'm not trapped. I think there's some Apple products that are terrible. The HomePod, I don't like Mac OS. There's certain things about Apple that I just don't like. But the iPhone, AirPods, the Apple Watch, those three things, the things that I own are three things that they nail through and through 100%. I think the iPhone, this 10s Max specifically, is amazing. I think the Apple Watch is really fine as a smartwatch. And I think the AirPods are some of the best wireless headphones you can get. So, and they work perfectly in my favor just because they're not noise canceling. They have the new AirPods Pro. I tried them. I wasn't a fan of them just because they hurt my ear, but the noise cancellation is fine, but my in-ear AirPods, I don't want noise cancellation. I'll make a separate point on that. All I gotta say is I'm not gonna be switching back to Android for the three reasons that I stated. Number one, I've evolved as a person. I don't do all of the customization and hard power use of my phone as much as I used to. Number two, Apple improved overall in a bunch of sections: RAM management, design, privacy, lots of things, battery life. And number three, comfortability. I'm comfortable where I'm at. I have my phone, it works. That's where I'm at right now, and I'm just going to continue to use my phone how I've always been using it. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I hope you got something out of this video and you learned something about me and how I use my phones. If you have any comments down below, let me know. What platform are you on and why? Or which one do you prefer? Do you like Android? Do you like Apple? Tell me why, and let's chat it. Let's chat it out in the comments below, because I want to talk to some people about your preferences. I'm all for it. So comment put some stuff down below in the comment section about why or what's your opinions on Apple and Android, and we can talk it out. With that being said, I'm Henry God the Fourth, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching this video. Thank you for the love and support, and I'll catch you guys later, man. Peace. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a like down below and subscribe if you enjoyed this type of content. Also, don't forget to hit that bell icon so you don't miss any future videos. Thanks, guys.